In this episode, we will be discussing how you are energetically repelling what you say you want and you don't even know it. Welcome to Chaos and Chemistry, a podcast focused on having all the chemistry and feel good you desire without the chaos and toxicity. My name is Legan. I'm a former counselor turned coach, and I'm here with my friend and co-host Max.
Hey guys, I'm Max. I'm a relationship coach working with people to help improve their lives and their relationships.
To learn more about us and how we might be able to help you feel better in the life you have today while creating the life you truly want, check us out on www.chaosandchemistry.com or send us an email at connect@chaosandchemistry. So Max, what are we talking about today? And why does it matter?
That's right. This is actually one of my favorite topics, Legan, which is energy, because I think it's like a sleeper topic that people don't really truly understand, but that makes a huge impact not only on our relationships, but just our everyday lives.
So you're saying it impacts our relationships and our everyday lives, and it's a sleeper because we don't realize it.
That's right. It is the foundation of basically humanity. The human experience has a lot of components to it. One of the main components is that everything is energy, and we're transmitting energy to each other all the time. So if you're not really aware that there is energy, that you're generating energy, that it's being shared, you're in a real disadvantage, because it'll affect you in ways that you're totally unconscious or unaware of, and it's make a powerful impact on your life.
Right. And then you might mistakenly give credence to something that is not the cause when it might just be energy.
That's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
you might be looking at things happening in your life and going, oh, it's probably because we do this. We make meaning of everything. So when something happens, we go, oh, it must have been me. I must have not been good enough. I must not have said the right thing. I must not be talented enough, skilled enough. But really, it could just be an energetic mismatch or transfer.
Yes. You know, one of the things that comes up, Legan, is that when I was born, we're going way back today in this episode. When I realized now, after all these years, is I was always very energetically sensitive. I never realized this, but I looked around the world, even as a small child, and it felt very dense. It felt very ugly. There was a lot of dense energies, and I didn't even know what they were, but I really felt it. And all through school, I was always hiding out, protecting myself. Now, I thought I was just like introverted and everything, but really what was actually happening is I was just sensitive to the energies that people have, and I was more conscious of it. And because I didn't have tools to understand or process their energy, I just totally shut down. So life as a child for me was very difficult because I was totally oblivious to this. No one had taught me, but I knew there was something wrong. I knew that everything around me was something weird going on, and I wasn't enjoying this life. And I wasn't quite sure why, because on the outside maybe it was good enough, but I didn't realize that it was like a real dense, dark energy all around me from people that were creating it unconsciously and just dumping it on me, and I didn't want it, but I didn't have any tools to really protect myself from it.
Right. And I think so many people resonate with that. They feel very empathetic. They might refer to themselves as highly sensitive. And so this episode is really good for anyone that notices that their energy is easily impacted by others. How would you say energy influences our relationship satisfaction? Because a lot of times we go, oh, well, I'm not satisfied in my relationship because he's not doing this, or she's not doing that, or someone's not doing something, and that's the problem. When in actuality, it could be energy. So how would you say our energy influences relationships?
Well, if you're generating dense energy, let's just call it bad energy for now. You know, you're always worried. You're always in your head. You're catastrophizing. You're always futurizing, black and white thinking. That is not just a cognitive distortion you have. That is an energetic load that you are sharing, gifting to people. Let's just say gifting to people around you. Okay. And because they may not be aware of it, that gift triggers them, makes them more sensitive, makes them on edge, really. So you're generating this energy. You walk in the room, and all of a sudden everyone's in a bad mood or whatever. And you're like, oh, what's their problem? You know, their problem might be that they were in a good mood before you arrived. And even without a word, your energy transmits to them. and puts them in a lower vibrational state. And then all their triggers come up because before, in a higher vibrational state, before you arrived in the room, so we've all done this. Before you arrived in the room, it wasn't like they weren't in that lower energies and they weren't being triggered. But now you're here and it pulls it down. And they can pull you down. I mean, it's all vice versa. And you get a couple people with dense, crappy energy, and guess what? It's going to be a shit show the entire way.
Yes. Trauma bonds, two people with very low vibration, low energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And it can work in a positive way. You can have a positive impact on people's energy level.
Yes.
As
Legan,
well.
Legan is my high energy, happy person. She lifts my spirits. I might be the dark, intense energy. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired from work. Please, we have to like do a script. She brings a happy energy, and that's wonderful because you can share with people high energy and help them if you can generate it yourself. That's the key. Is have you done the work enough to be able to generate good energy, or are you just very good, a seasoned professional at generating that dense, crappy energy? And then blaming everyone why they're being triggered all the time around you.
Yes. Well, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's right.
Is recognizing the different types of energy, how you are generating each type without realizing it, and then how you can take back creative control over your energetic state so that you're not a victim to anyone's energetic state. You're not a victim to the world's energetic state. You're not just walking around in reaction to everyone around you. You can become kind of an emotional container for yourself and an energetic container for yourself and really protect your energy and take care of your energy and it be something that you tend to almost like a garden, if you will, and you really love your energetic state and prioritize it. So I'm really excited about this episode. So you said we all share energy with everyone we come in contact with. That's, I would say everyone can agree on that. And we generate energy based on our thinking patterns. So I have an example of this. I was just talking to a client about this the other day.
Love it.
In her mind, this is the pattern she's noticing. And I love patterns. I'm like, I love them. I'm like a detective. So patterns are so fascinating because they tell you so much if you just can have the courage to look at them. So she notices that her pattern is guys will approach her, give her attention, talk to her, and then she kind of attaches pretty quickly because she grabs onto that attention because she's in a lot of scarcity. So she grabs onto that attention and then they disappear. They might hang out one night and then after that they disappear. And so what we were talking about the other day is that neediness, that scarcity is a low dense energy.
Right.
It's like I'm using this person so I can feel good about myself. I need them so I can feel good about myself. We don't intentionally do it. We're not intentionally trying to like use someone, but that's what we're doing. I need this person so that I can have like that hit of dopamine, feel good about myself. But that is a low level energy. And then what happens is this person may not even know what they're feeling, but they most likely can feel it. And then they ghost. And, like my client, we take it personal and we think, oh, it's me. And it's not you in the sense that there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with your energetic state because of your trauma and your wounding.
Right.
Does that,
I love that. Yeah.
resonate?
It totally resonates.
You have a story, don't you? Don't you have an example? I love Max's story.
Legan, why are we going here, Legan? But I'll put myself out there. But you know why, people? Because authenticity is so important.
I love Max stories.
All right. So let me take you back to a time, long time ago, really 2 months ago. I'm a coach. I've been doing this work forever, okay? And I've lopped off huge amounts of crappy energy, right? But every time I'm just observing new things, it's like a never-ending onion of unpacking these very negative states that I can go into. And I realized my whole childhood, I was telling my sister this, and she's like, yeah, Max, your whole life has been you're grumpy and angry all the time.
Which is so really, that's so hard to believe.
I know, but I really was. but I still have it, and it comes out when I'm stressed, and particularly traveling gets me. So I was traveling with my girlfriend. We were in Uruguay, and I was trying to get her like there's in Uruguay there's like this sandwich called chivito. It's like a little hamburger. It's delicious, and I was trying to show her like the perfect one. So it's like late. We're both tired from going sightseeing all day, right? We're both hungry. I'm like totally indecisive. Can't find the right place. I'm switching between the both of them. She's like hangry at this point. And then I find one. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I have to just do it. And the sandwich comes out, and it's terrible, like the worst one I've ever eaten, right? And she's just happy to eat. She's just She's just happy to eat. She doesn't know this is a terrible one for her. It's like, oh, it's good, no big deal. But already I'm like shitting on it. This is like the worst one. They didn't do it right. These French fries are soggy. And at some point, she just says, I can't eat this anymore. You've ruined it. You ruined it for me. I'm not hungry. And then at that point, I'm triggered. And I'm like, well, why are you being so negative? So I like attack her for it. But it was the only problem there was that I wasn't aware that when I get hangry and looking for a restaurant, I have this tendency to start poo-pooing everything if it's not perfectly right, or if the service is not perfectly right. And I don't do this normally, but if I get into that state of like tired, it comes out. And then it affects, she's very energetically sensitive, so it totally affects her. And I'll be like, oh, and she'll be like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Game over. We're over. And then it's just a shit show, right? Because then I feel bad. But what really started it all was I wasn't aware of how my energy was dropping and what I was transmitting to her. When I'm shitting on this thing, it's totally ruining all the energy for it. It's not really the words. It's what energy. I could have been like, this is great. It's not the greatest, but it's so good. I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. We had a great day. I could have like recapped the day and boosted and been very grateful for it. But I decided to go back into my pattern that has been with me all my life, Legan, sabotaging everything. Mm-hmm. And then the great part about it all was that she told me, is like, your energy just totally, if you're in that bad mood, I'm going to be in a bad mood too, because you're dumping it on me. And then it all hit me like, yeah, absolutely 100%.
Yeah. Well, I love that she was able to communicate that. And and it's so great. So she can communicate it. You're able to receive it and go, yeah, there's total truth.
I was at the right place to be able to be like, okay. Mm-hmm. And now that I see it, I just hadn't seen it before. As stupid as it is, I hadn't seen how like I can get to these negative states.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, even after all these years, I unpacked these huge glaciers that were just right in front, mountains of like unconsciousness that was still within me. It's really amazing.
Yes. Well, so what happens is if you can't go beneath the surface, so on the surface, the topic is a sandwich.
Yeah.
But the issue is energy.
What I'm transmitting. Yeah.
And dumping.
Yeah.
So you're dumping and you're just projecting it all onto her. Right. And so what a lot of couples do is they stay on the surface and they just tit for tat back and forth about the sandwich and who was rude and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And the real issue is self-awareness and going, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't realizing how low I was and giving myself what I needed. And I'm sorry, or whatever.
I should have done that. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So what would you say is the difference between, because when we're in relationships, we're looking to see, are we compatible? Right? So we're always, when we're dating, when we're married, or any relationship, coworkers, we're always kind of sizing up, do we share the similar values? Are we compatible? Are we on the same page in a lot of ways? So what would you say is the difference between surface level problems, like who's going to take out the trash, who's going to do the laundry, to energetic mismatches in a relationship?
Whew. Man, Legan, you really give me the tough questions.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Energetic mismatches.
What is an energetic mismatch in a relationship? How do you know if you're energetically matched with someone? Because here's the thing. You could be energetically matched in a really dense, on a low level. Like you could both have heavy, dense energy and be matched there. And you could also both be really light and matched there.
Yeah.
So a mismatch might be a really good thing.
Yeah.
If you're someone that, so how do you know if there's an energetic mismatch? Can
Well,
you, is it just something you can kind of feel?
there's definitely an energetic mismatch 100% of the time for most people. So
Yeah.
that's not even a question. Yes, the answer is yes. And the answer is whatever's in front of you, you have to start working on. And you start working on by becoming conscious of your energy and what energy you're dumping on your partner. Because if they're not doing this work, they're going to be super sensitive to the energy, and they might not even know why they're upset, but it's your shitty energy that brought it in. And it's very easy to then blame them. Like you're in a shitty mood, you're transmitting shitty energy, and then they get triggered and then, call you a name. And then you're like, why are you calling me a name? Blah, blah. When you started it. So I had started that whole shit show that day because I wasn't aware of it. And then I did blame her. But, my first gut reaction was like, why are you in a shitty mood, But it was really so I had to really look at the energy that I was producing. Whoever's in front of you is the person you have to heal with, 100%. So there may be there 100% is an energetic mismatch, and that's work for you to do the work to fix yourself and start getting the high vibe. Because if you bring a high vibe, there, just like you share shitty energy with people, you also share good energy with people, and you can bring up their energy as well, and you can trigger them less. They won't be as sensitive around you because now you're being more forgiving, more compassionate, more light. You're not a dense force that walks in the room and everyone has to take cover,
Yes, like a wrecking ball.
That's
Heavy.
right.
Yes.
And we all know those people. I
Yes.
was those people, Legan. That person is myself. Finding restaurants and making decisions.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
think we all have a
a little Max
tendency.
inside me.
Yeah, we all have a tendency
Okay, good.
we all have a tendency when we're tired, when we're in a lot of worry, when we're in a lot of fear. So we all have the tendency to go there. What I notice, the other way it really impacts relationships is if you're not aware of your energetic state, what happens is you will set an expectation for your partner to fix your energetic state. And when they can't or they're unable because they're another separate human being having a soul journey on this earth and their whole purpose in life is not to make you feel better at all times,
Really?
yeah. So then it becomes a real problem. I have an example from my life too,
Yeah.
so you don't feel all alone out there on the
Whew.
on the
You're killing me,
vulnerability.
Legan.
Yeah, on the vulnerability bridge. But Mick and I was noticing every Friday night. I was just noticing. He works with people all day long. I work with clients all day long. And so I was noticing that every Friday there was just like this heaviness between
Yeah.
us. We were just not really enjoying each other. We were kind of snippy with each other, both highly sensitive to what the other person was saying or reading it wrong. And I, last week or the week before, I can't remember, had this realization. On Fridays, I have to go listen to live music and dance. I
Yeah.
have to. That's what I want to do. If
Yeah.
every Friday night you ask me, what do you want to do? I would say, I want to go listen to live music. There's this band. They start at like 6 o'clock. It's like
Love it.
50,
Yeah.
50 and older. And it's so fun. And I get to dance. And I feel like the rest of the weekend,
Yeah.
I'm a totally different person.
Oh, yeah. Totally makes
And
sense.
I'm totally different. So I don't have that expectation for Mick. Hey, I need you to raise my energy. I go and do it myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm a much better partner.
Yeah. You're not actually raising your energy. You're purging all the negative energy people dump on you because you're a therapist. And you hear negative things it's good. That's part of the job that we do is like, we're listening to people's problems, right? But those problems have a certain density to them.
Yes.
And our job is to clear that energy within us so that we're not bringing it to our loved ones, because you literally share everything that people dump into you. You just take them onto the next person and you dump it onto this. So you're dumping it onto your children, you're dumping it onto your loved ones, you're dumping it onto your animals. If you're not aware of that it exists, that it's not, you're not bad, but people are putting energy in you, and you have to release it. So dancing is a wonderful one, Legan. That's great. Yeah, boogie woogie. I'm so old.
I am too. It's fine. Okay. So how do we know, based on our emotional state, how do we know if our energy, how can we give examples to
Yeah.
anyone listening these emotions are going to be denser. These emotions are going to be lighter. So no emotion is wrong, but the way you have to have awareness of what
Right.
you're experiencing and then relating it to heaviness versus feeling light, airy, expansive, all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. Love it. So that's where you have to be very self-aware. Check in with yourself, feel into your body. If your body feels like crap, that's because you're carrying a lot of pain, a lot of something you have to process, right? So that's going to create dense energy. Dense energy isn't terrible if you know how to manage it. It's part of life. There are things that happen, bad things happen. People do vent on you, and that's okay. That's beautiful that you're there to a shoulder to cry on, but you have to become aware of this and be able to clear it. So dense energy is, here's some examples: victim-oriented thinking, ruminating, overthinking, worrying, catastrophizing, self-criticalness. That's a shame. Is a terrible one. Gossiping, venting, spitefulness, perfectionism. Right. That's kind of like a self-loathing in certain sense. Reactive behavior like anger, fear-based decision making, time wasting and indecision. That's the one that got me, right. Disrespect of others, victim-oriented thinking. I mean, this thing goes on and on. Controlling your environment, right?
Yes.
Just saying those words, actually, you can feel it. You
Yes.
can feel it. You can totally feel it. What do you think are
Yes.
some good ones, Legan?
Yes. Self responsibility really makes a shift inside of yourself. And I always tell clients, even if what you are taking responsibility for is something that you're not really proud of or feels embarrassing, or maybe there's some shame around it, it still feels lighter than deflecting and blaming.
Yeah.
So self responsibility is a real game changer to just go, hey, and the other two, acceptance and surrender, they kind of all tie in together. So the minute you accept how you're feeling, how you're impacting those around you, that you've had a heavy week, and then, okay, what can I do to release this? You're already getting lighter.
Yeah.
Speaking vulnerably and authentically is so freeing. You know, all of these behaviors, when we talk about lifting our attitude and our energy, they're freeing. They're expansive. Understanding and responding. So not reacting, not being in reaction, being more in response, and then genuinely looking at your motivations. So when you're dating, are you looking at people as objects, or are you looking at them as human beings on a soul journey, and you get to be curious and meet this wonderful person and see what happens? So that feels lighter when you date. You go into dating with curiosity and no agenda. You're not trying to get something. You're not objectifying them because, maybe they've got great abs. You're just going in as a flawed human being doing your best on this planet and getting to know this other human being that is probably doing their best on this planet too. So light energy is it's so much better. Forgiveness, giving, speaking from the heart opened behavior,
You know,
all good things.
these things, the difference between the dense, what comes to mind is the difference between dense and light energy. We get really practiced at one or the other.
Yes.
And then our brains just they're so smart. I mean, we're really smart people, and anything we practice, we just keep doing it, and we keep creating more and more of. So you might be very practiced at being very dense. I was very practiced at worrying when I'm stressed and pulling down everyone around me. And my sister was telling me, like, yeah, that's what you did your whole life, It's because I was good at it. It's what worked for me, I guess, at some level. So I had to start practicing these other lighter things: self-responsibility, acceptance, letting go in a sense of let the sandwich be bad. It's okay. It's not the end of the world if she doesn't get the best chivito on the earth. There'll be other
Right.
times. And if there's not other times, that's okay too.
Right.
The mediocre one gets the point across, But I was like, so it's like a tunnel vision when you get into these energies because they're so contracting and they close you off and then they just hurt everyone around you. all these ones like forgiveness, compassion, brushing off, if you actually feel into them, they're very expansive. Like you were saying, they're just wide open. They blow everything apart. They're so powerful because any contracting energy in its presence will just be blown apart by love and compassion, right? You when clients bring us like very contracted energy, I'm trying to blow it apart with self-acceptance and the love and teaching them those skills. And it's hard because they're so practiced at constricting. They have to really practice opening up. And as they practice open up, they start sharing, they start being able to generate more open energy, light energy that then helps their whole life out. So it's really beautiful transformation, but it doesn't happen easily.
Right. I was just thinking, I used to listen to lists like that when
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain, and I would think, okay, that all sounds great, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't forgive that person. Or
Right.
I know I should, but I can't embody it. There's a difference in knowing and embodiment. And so if you listen to us talk about the light energy list and you go, well, I hear you, but I don't know how to do that. That's because dense energy, heavy energy feels more familiar. So you trust it. We don't trust light energy because if some people do, so I don't mean to include everyone, but most of us that grew up in dense home environments, that is what we feel is familiar. So we don't even know that it's dense. We just
Yeah.
think it's normal. So I didn't even know how heavy I really felt all the time until I started having some amounts of contrast while I was doing my own work.
Yeah.
That's when I started to notice, oh my gosh, I feel really light. I never feel this way, and excitement is not light. So a lot of people think in order to feel lighter, I need to be excited. So intensity is not a light, energetic place to be.
Yeah.
So, being excited, if you pay attention to your body, is actually very contracting.
Yeah.
Your body kind of goes, it's almost a similar feeling to anxiety. And so a lot of times people think, oh, well, they're excited. So they're in good energy because they're excited. But really, that's
They're so closed.
tightness.
That's right.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
tightness, it's constrictive. And the only people that are going to see that as light are other constricted, dense energy people.
Yes. Yes. I have a story. This is this actually sounds different, but it's actually the same thing. What she's talking about humans. I'm talking about televisions. But they're just two objects that resonate energy. So they're not actually different. Objects also carry energy. Animals carry energy. Trees. Go and hug a tree. You literally pick up that tree's energy, which is really beautiful because nature surrendered and you're all uptight. So it's gonna dump some good energy into you. But my story that I have is, okay, so I'm helping my mother with her tax office. So not only can I save souls and release trauma for people, Legan, but I could also do their taxes at the same time.
You are
So
you are
I don't
a
save
just
souls. I give the tools to save the soul. All right. So for the next couple months, I'm helping my mom out, at the office. And her and their coworkers, which I love, and they listen to the show, so I love you. You guys are the best. My mom always had like this daytime television, which was just basically news and this like daytime television gossip show, which was just one tragedy after another. People's relationships. It was all angry people yelling at each other essentially all day long while we're doing taxes, right? So I came in there, and then like a couple of weeks into it, I'm like, dude, I feel like crap. I mean, this is killing me. And I'm like 2 meters from this TV, it's like background noise of just background pain noise. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch it. I'm going to switch it to YouTube. And I switched it to YouTube. I put some like meditative music. That was too chill for them. They could not, my mom could not take it. So I had to up it to like soft rock. And then she was like, okay, I can handle this. But the total vibe changed. Me being energetic sensitive, I totally noticed the change. It wasn't as dense. The people were more calm when they're doing their taxes. It was just a more calm, serene environment because we weren't having these professional complainers and victims dumping energy on us. So
yes.
not only are you generating energy, you have to figure out what the hell you're generating, make sure you're on the right side of it, but make sure you're in areas that don't have objects or things that are dumping energy, negative energy on you. And one of them is, of course, television. What are you susceptible to? Who are you hanging around with? What social media are you listening to? What kind of music are you listening to? It almost sounds funny, but if you listen to music that's like a lot of complaining, a lot of victim oriented thinking, a lot of like relationship songs are all about this, right? They're always complaining about this and that. You should have been better. You hurt me. And they're making themselves like uber victim because that's what resonates with the masses, right? This victim energy. But if
Yes.
you're listening to that, it's going to pull you down into that dense energy, right? Because now you're going to remember, your ex-boyfriend, and you're going to start worrying and catastrophic or whatever it is. And then that has now created this energy you're going to take to your children and to your lovers. Or lovers, to your partner.
Yes.
But if it was
Well,
lovers, you're hurting a lot of people at the same time. So please, whatever it is, your animals, your cats, give them love energy, man. What do you think, Legan? Am I crazy?
yes. No. Yes. And
Wait,
again,
no, or yes, I'm crazy.
no, you're not crazy.
Okay, thank you.
And yes, you have to. One key aspect of taking back your power is to have awareness and monitor how much dense energy am I exposing myself to? Because it's never about extremes. It's not about never watching the news. It's not about never being not being able to be in certain environments. It's just watching the dose. I mean, watching how much dosage of it are you getting? Is it
Love
a
it.
healthy dose? And so you can know what's happening in the world, and you can have compassion and heartfelt love for what's happening in the world, and send love to people, and volunteer and do good things. But how much of your energy are you feeding into that?
How addicted are you to it? Because you can be
Yes.
addicted to social media and the news and all these. I see a lot of it in like crime shows and really terrible, like real crime podcasts. You're literally opening up your energetic channel to the greatest psychopaths and sociopaths on earth and listening to them talk. That's not going to help you be a loving, kind, compassionate person to those around you. That's just going to fill you up with that. You're not a psychopath, but you just filled your energy up with half an hour this real crime podcast, and now you're carrying that around. So
Right.
if you're not energetically sensitive to this, versus you could have gone and listened to like, I don't know, humming bowls on YouTube, and you're going to be totally chill,
Yes.
Be careful, guys. It sounds stupid because we love like the crime show, but if you're looking at stuff that is really negative, it's going to affect your children. You're going to be in a denser mode. It's going to fill you up. So be careful.
Yes, I noticed that was something that really changed for me. And I know it was sad for my mom because that was something that we used to bond
Connected with,
over.
yeah.
Yes, we would always watch crime shows and documentaries, and I just can't do it anymore. And it's hard for me to do it. And I tell her, I'm just like, oh, I don't know how you watch this stuff, but I used to too, because
Yeah.
it was an energetic match.
That's right.
And psychologically speaking, our bodies are always kind of seeking this level of homeostasis where everything is in alignment. So like our beliefs and the way we feel and our stories are all in alignment.
Yeah.
So even if they're in alignment and it's a bad alignment, it almost feels better than being out of alignment, in the sense that I'm used to dense energy. That's what I'm used to. That's
right.
what's familiar. But I'm going to do something different, like listen to, something really happy. I'm going to listen to happy music, or I'm going to watch, sing too. There's going to be resistance.
There is absolutely 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody thinks, oh, well, I just don't like that kind of music, or I just don't like those kind of movies. No, your body is not familiar. It doesn't trust feeling light. It doesn't trust that. So the more you have to create a contrast. You have to start noticing when you feel light, when you don't. How often do you feel light? How often do you feel heavy and dense? And then when you try to do light things, like have lighter thoughts, think more possibility, have more of a possibility growth mindset rather than rigid black and white thinking, any type of change in your patterning that's lighter, notice the resistance.
Oof. Nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every step of the way, your body will not be happy with it because it's
Yeah.
so addicted to whatever the old energetic pattern was. When I changed the music, by the way, it was an Office Revolt, but I stuck with it, Legan. I wasn't gonna have it. I wasn't gonna have it because they're not used to my. Certain people aren't used to calming, and I wasn't used to either because I realized when I started listening to more. Now I listen to like it's like weird Buddhist. It's like wing bing bing. It's just all.
Uh-huh.
It's just like very chill music, and it took me a long time to be able to get very comfortable with that music, because that music wasn't rap or whatever I used to listen to, and my body wasn't accustomed to it. So even good things, you have to be ready for the resistance and keep practicing at it until you can get into those states and get the benefits of it. Absolutely,
Yes.
man. It's so funny, man. You would
Yeah.
think it'd be so easy, but it's not. It's not because of the
No.
patterning. Yeah,
Yes, yes. And we feel that resistance and we go, it's just the ick.
that's
We call
right.
it the ick. We're like, ugh. But really it's your body is in resistance
It's not ready.
to feeling
No.
something better.
Yeah, not
So
feeling that negative. Yeah. Oof.
yeah, yeah.
One of the things one of my coaches taught me, or really my spiritual teacher, is that you don't have to positively think. Okay, you don't have to positively think. You just have to remove the negative thoughts. So putting it into the energetic realm, you don't even need to go into to get the best bang for the buck. You don't need to go to an ashram. I mean, it would probably help you to go into the mountains and meditate, but you don't even need to do that. As long as you're eliminating the real dense energies, you're going to be way ahead of it. You don't even have to be positive thinking. Just get rid of the negative stuff and you're way ahead of it. So identify in your life what the tendency is going to be like, well, I have to get rid of these people. No, no,
Right.
don't run away. Don't use this as an escape.
Right.
That's all those people, all the relationships. I see this on, we have to talk about this, Legan. This is not on the script, but I can't tell you how many people on TikTok and Instagram, they're like, oh, I was holier than thou. I didn't realize these people's shitty energy, and I had to get free of that. Which, at some level, I understand what they're coming from, but I also see it as their ego is just trying to avoid the wounding and avoid the real heartfelt conversations and grow through those relationships. So be careful with thinking like, oh, this person's low vibe. I want to get rid of them because I'm leveling up my vibration. No, you're not. People leave you. You don't leave them. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is resonate higher and start loving those people and see what happens. You can get rid of, the social media and turn it off, but people, you want to use them to grow, to self-inquire when they trigger you. What are you feeling? If you just get rid of them and you use energy as a guise, you're kind of corrupting the truth for your own ego, for your own protection, for your wall, so you can be egotistically defended and avoid these difficult conversations that you have to have. So don't do that. Be careful with that. That's a shadow
Yes.
side of this.
Yes, yes. Well, and it's a little bit delusional because when you're saying that, you're saying there's some superiority there. And so, low vibe, high vibe, whatever. And there are elements of that are true, but for you to always be in high vibe, it's about how you're showing up, regardless of what's happening around you. Now, I will say that at the beginning, I do think it's hard for people to make the change if they're in that same kind of toxic, dense, heavy environment. I think that's why retreats are so popular and going to rehab or wellness facilities are so popular because you're in this little incubator of light and positivity and water and massages, and it's just a really positive, sterile environment. But then you live in the world, so you have to be able to be you and be in charge of your energy regardless of what's happening around you.
Right.
So it's just not blaming others. They're not responsible for your energetic state, and learning how to set emotional, energetic boundaries so that way you can be around people and it doesn't really matter what they're experiencing. You're aware of what's happening inside of you and you know where your power lies, and then you make the changes necessary so that you can still love people wherever they are. You just know what you need in order to be able to love them where they are.
Exactly. You're taking care of yourself, the self-care. I love it, Legan.
Yeah.
You can totally be in the fire if you've worked on yourself enough. If you're giving yourself escapes from the negative. Sometimes like we're stuck with our parents and they may be like very narcissistic or whatever. The goal would be to like move out of that dense environment eventually, but in the meantime, you can find refuges. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever that is,
Refuge.
refuge in
Yeah.
places that have pristine energy that you can absorb and then help you. Jumping in the water, ocean is pristine energy. Nature will clear all your energy if you give it the opportunity to. So you got to start incorporating those into your life. And as Legan says, dancing is one of the best ones. Go hard dance and really let out. That's a great way to purge energy. So awesome,
Yes.
Legan.
Yes. Well, and I love when we were writing this, you were talking about different artists, and you were just talking about how, like, Taylor Swift
Oh,
lyrics, you know, they're kind of like they're kind of melancholy. She does have so much wonderful energy as a
she
person.
does.
She
She
does so
does.
many wonderful things, and
She really is.
she really tries to exude that. I know she's kind of polarizing, but if you just look at her as a human being, she does a lot of good.
Yeah, she has a high vibe. Definitely
Yeah.
a high vibe, and that's why people on our TikTok account, we only follow one person. Legan, you may not know this, but we only follow one person, and that person is Taylor Swift. Because I love Taylor. I'm a Swiftie. First, I'm a Swiftie,
I
and
know you are.
second, she has high vibe. Other artists, we shall not name them, because there's so many of them. Really, the vast default state is everyone's so hooked on negative energy that if you bring a high vibe person, it's gonna be most of the time they're rejected. There's some Ed Sheerans and stuff that get through, usually around relationships and love. There's that segment, but for the most part, most of the media and things that are generated are more in that dense scale of it. Except I think Taylor is on the high end of it. She's a genuine person. She gets attacked a lot. She has her politics and stuff, but overall, on the whole spectrum of mass media people, she is someone that does resonate high, and I think that's why she has a lot of youth following, because they want mentors that are happier and they're so beautiful, and their moms take the children, and it's just great. Yeah, good
Yes.
for her.
I listened to a podcast one time and I loved this example. It was the podcast Be Magnetic. I don't know if you've ever heard of that
Never,
one, but
no.
it's great. And they were talking about a lot of times we assume that someone like Taylor Swift has the popularity she has and has the following she has. Again, we assign meaning. So just like earlier we were talking about, when people are rejected, they assume that it means something bad about them. They're not good enough, da 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 da. When actually it could just be like an energetic signal that they're giving out that they don't even realize they're giving out. One of
Right.
scarcity, anxiety, neediness, all that stuff. And they were talking about authenticity is so magnetic because it's such a light energy. And so
Yeah.
you want to be around it more.
Yeah.
You appreciate it, you enjoy it. And so you can look at someone like Taylor Swift and go, oh, well, she has all that because this, that, and the other. But maybe it really just is what she exudes.
Yeah, 100%. You can tell by her family how much her parents love her. Even when she was younger, like if you watch her documentaries and stuff, she was very well taken care of, very well loved, very well taught. She was taught to vibrate high. We're just taught to vibrate low because we're all traumatized from generational trauma and people that are so asleep that they programmed us. So the lucky
Yes.
few were programmed well, and they nurtured that, they cultivated it, they've protected their energy, they've done all the self work, and then they can resonate it out to us, and it's so beautiful. I see Taylor, I feel her energy is beautiful. There's other artists. I'm just not saying her, but
But
we're
she's a,
50.
she, yeah, she's such a
She's
good
genuine.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's such a good example, and she's someone that everyone
Knows.
knows,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
And authenticity is great because the inauthentic person is fearful of showing who they actually are. So they're actually in fear. They're actually in the density, in the whole density. They're very dense.
yeah. Well, and I love what you said when we were talking before we started recording, just about how you can't always see it. So you can't always see. You might think you're fooling everyone. So you might be going into that job interview, or you might be going on that date thinking you are just
Kill it. Saying the
killing
right
it.
things. Yeah.
You probably, you might think you're just killing it. And there's something that is just off. And I think we've all experienced that, where on the surface, like on paper, I should want to hire this person, or I should want to work with this person, or I should want to date this person, but there's just something that's not pulling me. There's nothing, I'm not feeling a connection, because you really can't have it without authenticity and lightness. So you might believe that you got everybody fooled. You probably have your own self fooled. I mean,
Yourself. Yeah.
I had myself fooled. So it's this work is so fun because you get to discover. We talk about different topics, but really they're just windows. They're just doorways into really discovering who you are and allowing your personality and the way you see yourself to grow and change. And then it never fails. Your reality follows suit.
So this has all been a 45-minute therapy session for myself. Thanks, Legan. This is a freebie for me. Thank you. Because I tell you something, every job I've like, in my old life as a tech nerd, I would go to these jobs and job interviews, and I wouldn't get them. I like failed a lot of it, and I was like, why am I failing? I'm like the perfect candidate, you know?
Yes.
Now in retrospect, I look back and I'm like, I was a disaster. My energetic was so egoistic. Nobody would be able to work for me just because I was an a-hole. I wasn't even realizing that I was. That's why you can't hide energy. You can't hide energy. If someone's energetically sensitive, they're seeing you exactly as you are. You can't, no matter what you say, you can say the best things on life. They see right through you. So once you become energetic sensitive, you can protect yourself because they can't hide the energy. And I had this really shitty energy, egoistic, like the words I used, I mean, just horrific. That's why like trauma and not being aware of this will really quote unquote ruin your life. It definitely ruin your career aspirations because as soon as you get someone that's energetically aware, they'll see right through you. And then you can say all the stuff in the world, but so yeah, I capped out. I really got kneecapped. I kneecapped myself. I mean, I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. I'm okay though, because don't worry, people. I love my life now, so it was all necessary to get here.
Well, you said you've lost ambition anyway, so
That's right. That's right. I have other goals now. Writing a bunch of code is not interesting to me anymore. So
yes. But that's so true. It's so true. And you could probably think of dates that you went on and interviews and things, and you just thought, well, why didn't that work out? Or why don't they like me? And you can't put it together. It could be as simple as it's an energetic thing. So, key takeaway. You're generating energy all the time, heavier light, and you're sharing this with those around you. You might believe you're hiding it or covering up, but it will be felt. If you're experiencing a lot of rejection, it might be good to look at what you are generating and no doubt projecting. First step, like Max and I shared, is always awareness. What you're feeling and experiencing below the surface. So what's happening in your body? I always say neck down. Second step is to pause and accept whatever it is you're feeling. So this immediately is grounding, and it begins to kind of regulate your nervous system when you're no longer in resistance, because resistance is an energy. It's kind of like a choppy water energy, I always say.
Love it.
Yes, yeah. So if you're experiencing choppy waters, you want to get to neutral, you want to calm. And then rather than being a victim to your energetic state, gauge where you are, think about what you want to create within. So for example, on Friday nights, I'm going dancing with the 50 and up crew at the levee. And at 6 o'clock, I'm usually home by 8. And, so if you're going on a date, a date, notice if your energy is chaotic, find a way to release it. Put on some good music while you get ready. Go for a good run, get a massage, anything somatic helps. And I will give this tip. I give this tip to my clients when they go on a date. Every time, and I did this too, because I always was finding games and tricks to get myself to do the work because it was so hard for me. Every time the waiter comes over, or the waitress, and refills your drink, do literally sit back and kind of ground inside your body.
Love it.
because usually we're like up, we're either like shut down or we're over amped. So either way, we're in a heavier energy. So anything else you want to add, Max?
No, no. I already spilled my soul on this podcast, Legan.
Yeah.
We love
It's
you, good people.
it's just it's so funny.
Like
It's hard.
sweaty.
You're purging a lot.
I'm probably, this is all coming out, people.
Well, you know, we all have our temperament. Usually that's developed in childhood. And
Yes.
so but it doesn't have to stay that way. It really
Right. Amen.
doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. It's just so funny. I can't imagine you that way. You always say that and you joke about it, but I can't imagine you as this. And I know the people that we both know that are listening would not see you that way either.
We should have my sister on this podcast. She'll tell you exactly how I grew up. It took a lot of work to get here, and that's one of the things. I mean, to get from these dense energies to higher energies, it's a hell of a lot of work. But there's nothing else worth doing in my experience. I mean, what else can actually bring you happiness and joy and peace and compassion, all those great, good feeling energies, except doing the work? I mean, money's not going to do it. Wealth isn't going to do it. It'll just make things worse. So you're just running around aimlessly. The only thing that matters is getting the energy up, being the light to this world. Because when you pass away, which we're all heading that way, you'll look back at your life and it'll just be how much love and compassion and kindness. That's the only thing that you'll remember. And all the other stuff does not matter at all. So focus on healing yourself so that you can share wonderful, loving energy to people. And that energy lights them up. And it's the most beautiful thing to see people around you light up. That's really the only thing that has value, like what love you can show people. And I basically have given up on my profession because I just like seeing other people blossom. You know, my profession, I guess, is watching other people blossom. You know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that really brings me happiness. I've had enough. So yeah,
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. Your purpose has become your profession, which
Yeah.
is teaching others how to love.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Legan. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So if this resonates with you, check us out on www.chaosandchemistry. And if you need help, book a discovery call with us. It's the first step towards finding lasting happiness.
Yeah.